YouTube. Ladles and jelly spoons. Welcome to Truth, Love, and Peace, episode 48, since we're still keeping track. That's right. Welcome, Shae White.
What's up, man?
Welcome to the pilot.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Glad to
forward
have
to
you. As this is kind of like the follow-up series from the probably Big Jam Space Drivers smash up from Shizuko's.
That was awesome.
That was a good time. I need a seatbelt before we get too far into this and to not run into anybody.
That's right.
And then we're going to get on here, we're going to share this. So, for everyone that's not watching us and doesn't know us on Facebook, that's finding us years and decades from now.
Sure.
You, Mr. Shae White, are a guitar player that I met as the lead guitar player and the singer for Probably.
That's right.
So, let's start there. Tell the folks that don't already know, Probably is your current project.
Yep. So we're started off as a three-piece. We've started kind of slowly integrating new people to kind of change things up, and but yeah, it started. I met Quentin back in high school, Fairhope High School. And then we met Philip at Faulkner a few years later. We all kind of meshed real well. All enjoyed the same music and that kind of stuff, and so started playing out, and that's kind of how it happened. So.
Ta-da!
Yeah, man.
It's amazing that y'all have only been playing. What does that add up to? Like 3 years?
So officially is Probably. It's been, I think, probably around 2 to 2.5 now. But we've been playing together probably now for about 5 to 6 years. We've known each other and kind of played with each other.
Twice as long as I was thinking. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Not in a real big hurry to make this turn. So.
The traffic was adjusted. 2-lane
road next to a state line.
That's right.
In the middle of vacation land. So we do a lot of sitting and chilling at this particular intersection.
Cool.
So where all have you been with Probably? Like, what does the map look like?
So, obviously we had to kind of start off local to kind of build a base.
Sure.
So from there we started kind of moving over into Mississippi, kind of the Ocean Springs to Biloxi, that kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
We've recently started reaching out over into Pensacola and Destin most recently, and so that's pretty exciting. We've started playing new places, which has kind of been a goal of ours, and so
very cool. That's a pretty large footprint from Mississippi to all the way to Pensacola.
Yeah, for sure. No, we're located, I live in Daphne, and Philip lives in Mobile, and so we're kind of in that location, kind of centralized between that, so it kind of works.
Have you always been in Daphne, Mobile area?
Yes. Yeah, I was born in Mobile. My family moved to Fairhope whenever I was 3, and I've lived there ever since.
I'm curious about the Mobile music scene because I've left for so long and have come back.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm doing the comedy thing over there, I'm curious about the Mobile scene and how it's developing, and if it looks like it's doing something that it's never done before. Do you have thoughts on the Mobile music scene like that? Or what did it look like just a couple years ago, I guess?
Well, my brother Brandon. So he was kind of, I always looked up to him, and so I saw the music scene before I got into it. A little bit. I just kind of saw it, and I'm able to hear from what he's told me. I've heard different things how it's changed. Like back whenever the Ugly Stick was like the big band around this area, and he was in a band called Triple 40. And so that's kind of how I've seen it from that point, and then to now. I feel like Probably is not necessarily the mold of Mobile. Mobile kind of tends to have a like jam band type feeling. So we don't tip. I mean, I don't consider myself a great guitar player. I get by and I keep rhythm and do some solos here and there, but mostly it's our sets consist of 3 to 5 minute songs, and kind of keep things moving, that kind of stuff. And so that's one way that I think that we kind of differ in this music scene. But as far as just the people in the music scene, it's pretty tight knit community, and everybody's friends, and it's not.
For as big as it is, it's a small town.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, like tonight, I had somebody. Brandon was supposed to play with me, and he wasn't able to make it. So I have a group text with a bunch of singers that just in the area, and we tend to do that. We'll see if anybody's available to cover anything or to play with. So somebody, Harrison McKenna, will be playing with me tonight. Which I've never played with them as far as just a duo, and so that'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, Harrison is awesome. I can't remember what number episode he was, but I went out to his place and resurrected him off on his back patio.
Nice. Heck yeah, man.
It's beautiful.
That's cool.
And Bailey, his wife, we all sat down and go, Harrison, love you. Can't wait to see you again soon, man. That's great. Yeah, man. And that it's such a small community like that you can throw it out there and say, that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing. The Mobile scene is, it fascinates me. The Mulligan Brothers is a band that I got to work with and really enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd like to see Mobile be one of those uber successful places, and between Mobile and Pensacola, I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
There's so much going on that it could be.
Well, and there is a lot of. Yeah, there is a lot of different, like the Mulligan Brothers. I mean, they're Americana, like folk.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily
not at all what you
Mobile's
guys
sound,
do. Right?
But that's
no, just one of my.
They're a staple
favorites.
in Mobile. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, one of mine too. I mean, they're all good friends of mine. On top of that, they're excellent musicians. And Ross is just one of the best writers out there. So.
Heck yeah. And that's, like you said, folky bluegrass, not really bluegrassy, but folky, I think of them as folk Americana for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus what you guys do, you guys are way more on the R&B, hip-hop side of things.
Yeah. How
do you define or describe what you guys play?
So we tend to, our stuff is kind of a combination of funk. We try to incorporate the old type of funk. A lot of the cover stuff that we do is that, and so obviously that's an influence. And then also, modern twist as far as some pop elements. Then also we're all jazz background, so we're throwing some more colorful chords than normally would be played, or that kind of stuff. So pop funk. I'd say it's kind of our genre.
Which is
we're still trying to we're figuring it out too. So we're still
good,
writing though. And that kind of stuff. And the more we write, the more we kind of nail it down. So.
Yeah, that's the fun part of making a stew, though, man. The flavors change.
Oh yeah.
But you have that same roux.
Yeah, for sure.
Just making a good fucking gumbo.
yeah. Well, and like I said, we're adding new members now. Trying to get to a 5-piece. That's kind of the goal. But just logistically, it's tough to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the goal. Try to get a nice good gumbo.
Nice good gumbo. Yeah, man. Just making a good old stew. It takes a while, but it's so worth it.
Oh yeah.
It's so worth it. Yeah. I've always enjoyed listening to you guys play. It's tight. I don't listen to anybody else that plays in your genre, so it's even that much more beautiful for me than
yeah. And
to get exposed to something new, it's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, and I don't at least around this area there aren't too many bands that do the style of music, and luckily from other bands we'll have people that come sit in, or we'll cover a gig for Philip or point us out or whatever, and they usually dig the song choices and that kind of stuff, and that makes us feel good as far as other musicians are digging what we're doing.
Yeah,
I feel like we're doing something right.
So talking about people sitting in and being able to fill gaps here and there, how much, since you guys do have a very original set list, I don't hear other bands play the stuff that you guys cover. Yeah. Obviously not your originals, but what's it like? Does it matter when you're putting a set list together, or are you just that confident in the people, how great the musicians are around here? Because they are, that you can just throw pretty much anything at them and it'll work out.
Well, I tell everybody that will come up and say you sound great or whatever. I'll let them know that's these guys that make they make me sound good. If so yeah, I thoroughly enjoy getting to play with the people that I get to play with, and that definitely adds a level of enjoyment to making this a living. So
yeah, because that's true. I mean, when you get to sit back and let Baggins and Ayers just make a pretty pocket and bounce around in it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It is fun.
Yeah, I'll just kind of sitting back sometimes and just watching them do their thing. It's honestly a blessing to get to play with the people that I get to play with, and even the people that come sit in. I've gotten to play with just rock solid musicians. Just random calls like, "Hey man, can you play this thing?" And then they're like, "No, I got this buddy who's a really good drummer or whatever, and so, or a really good bass player or whatever." And so it's really cool to get to meet new musicians and kind of share the experience.
That's awesome.
Recently, there's a guy named his name is Big D. He's a guitar player who he
don't mind me just reaching out your shit. Big D. Go ahead.
He plays with a guy named John Cleary, who's one of our role models or inspirations musically. So that was pretty cool. It's just kind of the random things that happen where people come together and just works out. So.
That's the good thing about having this big a community, though. And I've told you I was listening to Quentin and I's conversation, and he made mention of something I've heard other musicians around here talk about, and that's that there's so many good musicians and the network is so deep that it makes it that much easier to facilitate the whole process.
Yeah. And
totally forgot where I was going with that because I was trying to figure out if there's anybody in this building.
Yeah.
We're about to drive by. It doesn't look like it, so we're good.
Oh, nice.
But I was talking to Quentin about how great it is to have a network of basically session musicians hanging out around here.
Oh yeah.
To get to pick from, and I imagine that's gotten pretty cool branching out. Do you guys do any of the casinos yet? That's the other thing I was going to
yeah, absolutely.
Total tangent.
No, yeah, we as far
I imagine they love you over there.
Oh, well, hey, yeah, we do pretty good over there. It's a mixed crowd, so we tend to do pretty good with mixed crowds because we'll go from George Strait, the most country you can get, to Prince, the most R&B. So yeah, I mean we try to keep everybody happy at some point throughout the experience. So and as far as you mentioned about a set list, we tend to just kind of feel it out typically for the most part. We don't usually, unless it's like we played the vinyl recently, and then the Chizuko thing, we had a set list for that. So there's certain things that we do that are kind of bigger shows that are more geared towards listening that we, we'll write a set list for. But usually, for the most part, the bar scene, we'll try to see what people are liking and try to incorporate different things.
When you do a listening show, because this is something that's hot on my mind, is audiences and good listening audiences.
Yeah.
What, you don't have to go into names or anything, but what does that look like these days? Do you get good receptions in listening audiences, and do you get a lot of opportunities to do stuff like that, where it's more of what we might think of as a singer-songwriter version of a show, or also a theater version of a show? That's something that's been in my mind. You guys, when you say, putting together more of a listening kind of set, how does that relate to these listening kind of shows that you've done?
So usually, the bar scene is where we make our money, and so we're gonna be playing things that are more geared towards that. We're gonna be more crowd pleasers for the general public. Rather than people coming. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the people that one of the things that we're striving for right now, we've been getting better at, is getting in festivals and that kind of stuff where people come to listen to music. And that's the goal. It's not necessarily to go party with friends and that kind of stuff. It's more about the music. And so with that kind of stuff, we're able to break out to some of the more slower stuff if we need to. That is like just good content rather than just people dancing to whatever upbeat song there is. That kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're able to pick a little more colorfully as far as our song selection on listening environments.
Heck yeah, man. What kind of festivals have you guys looked at getting into? Which ones do you like?
Well, I
never thought of you as a festival guy, so.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, we're. I feel like that's where you get your base. That's where people.
Big audience.
Well, yeah, people come there, like I said, for music, and so if they see something that they like, then they're gonna typically follow it. And, that's where you get people spreading the word and that kind of stuff. And so, what was the question?
Festivals you guys are looking at getting into?
Yeah. So, nothing specifically. We're kind of just throwing in applications or whatever it takes to submissions to launching stages and that kind of stuff. Let's see, like there's it's called MOB. It's going to be in Mobile. It's a festival for, I guess, just arts, and so that'll be cool. There's a lot of local festivals now that.
What's the one they're doing in Mobile? Jonathan Ashley was telling me yesterday.
Is it MOB?
I don't know if it's MOB. It's a number. It's a 251.
Oh, 1065.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll that's one that we'll definitely try to get in. Is that coming up?
I think they do it at the end of the summer. I think they did it.
Okay.
I want to say it was not too long ago.
Okay. So that's something that we'll try to jump on next year. That kind of stuff. Just trying to throw in as many submissions as we can for people that'll have it. So.
Yeah, just get all over the place.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're looking to travel, so that's we're not just looking for this local stuff.
Me too. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know how far to cast that net though. I'd hate to get to Tennessee and find out I suck. But that's cool. I lived a gypsy lifestyle for a little bit.
Nice.
And thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Looking at getting back into it.
Man, yeah, that's always been something, that's been, I guess, a fantasy,
It's not so much a fantasy now. People do it. People do it.
For sure. No, yeah, it'd definitely be tough. A new baby and a wife right now, but that is something that's always been very interesting to me, is being able to just do whatever you want, go wherever you want, not necessarily have to go home or whatever.
Yeah, I would love to be your baby raised in a van on permanent tour. That sounds like tons of fun.
Dude, I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
See if you can sell your wife on that.
It might be tough, so we'll see.
In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. What happens to the other baby? Don't ask those kind of. That's not relevant. It's okay. That's fun though. Just being on the road. The biggest tour I ever went on was with a drum and bugle corps, and we made it out to Colorado and all that good stuff, and did the DCI run. And living on a bus was very interesting. Is Yep probably your first band?
It's basically we had one of the same people, Quentin, Phillip, and then we had Chris Spees. That was called Shae White and the Elements, and then Chris went and started doing some big stuff, and
Samantha Fish.
Yeah,
right?
So that's awesome.
Good for him.
And so
Get Spees.
Yeah. So we started probably as just the trio, and from that point it's started growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's really been my first actual playing out band. I had bands in high school that played the talent show and that kind of stuff. But.
Man, so you haven't done the tour, like the tour thing yet?
No, I haven't gone on an actual tour for sure. I think it'd be fun though.
Yeah, I think so too. That's one of the reasons I'm looking at getting a different van and doing the camper thing all over again. Back to gypsy life. It's being mobile.
Yeah.
It's tons of fun. I never toured with a band, like, I don't know, having to be tethered to two other people or a band. That might get weird.
Yeah, for sure.
My OCD would go nuts.
Yeah, luckily I don't have to live with Quentin or Phillip right now, so it's good. No, they're good. They'd be good roommates, I'm sure.
So, being a new daddy, what's that like?
Oh man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, man, and learning stuff every day. He just turned 1 May 31st, and
so
man, he's
so
awesome.
you've had plenty of time to get broken in, and you're settled into daddom.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still learning every day, but it's definitely a routine. So it's
that's wonderful.
Not quite a surprise when things happen now. So.
And have you planned its future out yet?
Man, I'm just gonna let him do what he wants to do as far as.
Have you planned the options for?
Absolutely, music. He's already interested in music as far as just like we got him a keyboard for his birthday, a little Casio electric keyboard, and he loves beating on that thing. And if I try to play it, he moves my hand away and keeps playing. It's pretty awesome. So he loves noise.
Cool. That's great. I can see him now just sitting there going, "It's not your turn."
He literally just rips my hand away. It's pretty funny. But yeah, he loves dancing and all that stuff. So whenever I was growing up, music wasn't forced upon us.
Yeah.
My parents were both musicians, and they never forced us into going to the lessons or anything like that. My dad always had an acoustic guitar just laying around the house. It'd be in a different room every day. Just pick it up and watch TV and just kind of diddle around. That's kind of how I learned to play guitar. And, so yeah, that's kind of how I think I'll raise him. I'll just have it. I'll make that option available for him.
There you go. Yeah, the power of suggestion and easy access.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the way to go. Look, that noise right there. That's what I was waiting for. Oh, man. So the PSA, while we're talking about giving kids the best opportunities possible, I drive like a grandma. And that was the sound of someone peeling out, so they didn't have to get stuck behind me again. But that's why I pulled over, so they could go around. But that's very cool. That's very cool. Man, we're coming up on all kinds of milestones.
Oh, yeah.
Start talking around, what, year 2 or so?
Yeah. He's, saying dada, mama.
So cute.
Yeah, dude, wave. He's starting to mimic things. And so he'll wave and
he's going to
shake his head.
Manipulating you in no time.
Oh, man. Dude, I feel like I'm gonna be. I'll be more of the strong one. I think my wife is the one who's gonna get. I mean, she'll boss me around, but he's definitely gonna push her over.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
He's got her heart for sure.
You're gonna have to be the disciplinarian.
For sure.
It's gonna be so fun.
She loves him too much.
That's great.
That's cool.
Very, very cool. I was always fascinated with kids because of their candidness, their honesty. Like they're just not jaded by life, their innocence. And from a research standpoint, it's amazing because if you want to know things about the way the human brain develops, you can basically ask them and they'll tell you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean...
And they're amazing. They're amazingly honest.
Oh, well, they're the biggest jerks in the world,
it's
too.
So
And
fun.
it's awesome. I mean, it's, you know, that's the thing, though. It's, they're just doing what... They're not thinking about, you know, necessarily the consequences. They're just doing the natural thing. And so it's cool to watch that. And, you know, he's starting to get to now, you know, he's crawling all over the place, and so he'll open up a cabinet. We have the little locks on the cabinets, and so he'll like get his fingers squished in there, and so you know, he'll learn, you know, not to do that anymore. And so it's, you know, it's cool to see him develop and you know, take in knowledge and learn from experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Very, very. Kids are fascinating. They're just wildly fascinating.
Yes.
Very cool. I'm glad you have one and I don't.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
That's right. My everybody else. My sister, I have a brother and two sisters, and the one brother and one sister have kids. Me and the oldest sister, no kids. It's divided perfectly. Perfectly. You got one half of the family that stays home and does the kid thing, and the other half of the family that does, well, you know, we moved to LA. Like, we need to go fucking party.
Man, that's awesome, though.
Works out well.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, man. I thought I belonged in academia for a little while. I don't know if you ever tempted those waters.
I have not.
No, it's not necessary by any stretch of the imagination these days for a lot of things. If you want to be a doctor, you got to go to school. But
well, okay,
but it's overrated. In a lot of ways.
So I went, like I said, I went to Faulkner, and I was a paramedic for a little while.
What?
And yeah.
Tell us some paramedic stories.
Oh man, yeah. So I was a paramedic for I think about 2 years while I was in school. To become a paramedic, that's whenever I began doing full-time music, basically to get through school, and was still doing full-time music, and 24-hour shifts is what you work on an ambulance. So it was 24-hour shifts, and then 2 gigs on my off days, and then, you know, get to sleep at 4:30 in the morning from a gig, and then have to go to work at 7 o'clock for a 24-hour shift. So it was definitely rough. But I'm glad I was able to transition out of it back into full-time music. But as far as just being a paramedic, it was a good experience. It was
that's some real world shit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of responsibility, which I mean I don't like. I mean,
you don't have to go too deep into it, but I can. One of the stories that I've told before, I got run over as a kid, and you know, life or death situation. And that's the kind of thing, a traumatic event is one of the only things in life that can jar someone out of their current mode of thinking.
Absolutely.
And so I imagine you saw a lot of those instances where people came face to face with their own mortality, which is a huge moment for any individual.
No, yeah, it's well, in like one thing that I really took away from just that whole experience. I was working in Atmore whenever I was kind of. Anytime that I felt like I was getting flustered and time was moving quicker than it really was and that kind of stuff, just kind of sit back and take a deep breath and kind of figure things out for a moment. So I've taken that in, you know, past just the paramedic thing and tried to live by that small way. So
that's very, very cool.
Because it really was. As soon as she said that, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you're right. We just need to calm down," because it was just, a cluster. And so it was cool advice, and I had a very stressful time. So.
Context has a lot to do with things,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because, some things you say in passing and you say them in a certain moment and they all of a sudden become impactful.
Yeah.
It's, context matters.
Absolutely.
And for those of you on YouTube that missed part of that, go listen to it on the podcast. I've always been a big fan of liminality and liminal space and how we transition, the whole Joseph Campbell myth and mythology and how we build our own identities.
Yeah.
That's working in life or death, in those areas of the world where people die.
Yeah.
It's something I don't think a lot of people are exposed to. Like, I wander around and meet people and they're just like, you don't know. Like, there's a half a life that you haven't even experienced yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely a different field. Everything is pretty fast-paced as far as, just decision-making.
Well, and that goes to what we were talking about with school. You can go to school and you can learn a lot, but there's no classroom that teaches you on site.
Yeah.
Dudes having a heart
well,
attack.
Yeah. In paramedic school, we always learned there's the way that you learn it, and then there's the way that you do it.
Yeah.
And so, and that's even with music too, you learn a lot, and you can know a bunch of songs, and then get your first gig and not know what to do. It takes the experience of being in front of people and seeing how to interact with the people who come up to you and the super drunk people that come and request songs you don't want to play and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, just
where did that start for you? When was your first time as a performer on stage?
So I started playing. Started off doing some private stuff every once in a while, and then my brother, he would ask me to do Brandon. He would ask me to do some gigs with him, and so that's kind of how it started. I don't know if you ever met the Van Etten brothers. There's Andrew and Steve Van Etten.
No.
They were good buddies of mine. Wes Bayless and Les Hall and all them, and I met them and started really. Me and Andrew, we played tons and tons of gigs throughout the few years that he was living here. So we were almost playing every day of the week. And so that's kind of where, and like I said, that's whenever I was in school as well. And so, kind of escalated from there. I met people, met bar owners, and met.
So 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's still happening. Yeah. I mean, it's
great.
It's a continuous journey.
Well,
sure.
I assure you, no one that sees you do what you do on stage knows that you've only been doing it for 7 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I can promise you that. Because see, this lady hadn't even been driving a car for 7 years. Crying out loud, woman. Pick a lane. It's not the middle.
But yeah,
that's incredible, man.
With Brandon being there, it helped. Get me to the spot where I can meet people and not necessarily have to go into a bar that I've never been to and hand them something saying this is who I am. I know you've never heard of me, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, doing the pitch, doing the cold call and all that.
Yeah, so luckily I was able to play some gigs with them and then just meet the people organically that way and that kind of stuff. And then recently, our middle brother, the one in between me and Brandon, he plays guitar, has a great voice, and we played Tuesday night for the first time, and it was his first gig out doing, and so we're trying to kind of bring him into it too, so that'll be cool.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Very neat. I found the one guy in the corner of the parking lot that we could make feel awkward.
Man, let's go talk to him.
And just watch him pull out weirdly. Nah. What's your middle brother's name? If I may?
Jeremy.
Jeremy
White. He's a nurse at Thomas Hospital Cath Lab.
Hello, Dan McLean. I don't always see the comments when they come up,
nice.
but I happen to see that one.
Nice. Hello, Dan.
And I think, since the camera's pointing at you, I'm literally doing circles in a parking lot. These things happen. So what does Jeremy play? Does he play? I assume he plays guitar like everybody else in your family.
Yeah, guitar. Yeah, he's actually a really good classical guitarist.
So like with the like
yeah, so it's like the nylon strings, big fretboard type stuff. But I mean, he also plays just regular guitar as well. But he started getting some gear recently, and so we're trying to get him going on.
Has he named his band yet? That's
No.
the kind of thing I would do. Name a band before I had it.
Then you get the band for sure.
Oh goodness. That's amazing though. If I had not been doing some kind of performance ever since I was a kid, I can't imagine getting comfortable in seven years. But I guess with the experience, you guys play some big ass shows.
Yeah.
I guess I can see that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's amazing though.
doing it all the time too. That's helped. It's there's like a recurrent. You know, you get a feel for it, and you kind of know what to do in certain situations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
a little bit of repetition.
Yeah, absolutely. So
That's awesome. So time check. That's about
yeah.
when and where do we need to be? Somewhere?
Yeah, I need
Cool.
to play at 6.
You didn't say something until now?
Dude, I'm enjoying this. They can wait.
Oh, well, okay. While we've got that for the pause break, since
Yes.
we're on the way back home, give everybody the rundown on the plugs. If people want to get the Probably album,
Yes.
catch up with you guys, see you live, give them the spiel.
All right, so you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Yeah Probably. Just search Yeah Probably, and actually Google. If you search Yeah Probably on Google, then like all of our stuff pops up first thing. So
Perfect.
then also iTunes, Amazon, Google, Spotify, Rhapsody, all the digital outlets. You can find our music. We have a YouTube channel, which is also we have a music video for the last song on our EP, which is called Waste of Time.
Which is awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Then we're currently working on new music now to hopefully release the end of the year on an album. So then we have a thing called Studio Amped, which will be an hour long thing on WSRE in Pensacola, which will be fun. So we're trying to get our original stuff worked up for that. That'll be September. So
Yeah, Studio Amped, they do great stuff.
yeah, for sure. And I watched the one that they did with Lee. They did one with Lee Yankee with Hotel Oscar.
Yeah, Nick and the Overalls did one, didn't they?
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, I've enjoyed watching those. So I'm glad to be a part of that. That was kind of one of my years, as well, as to try to get on there. So it's kind of
Mission accomplished.
That's right.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
That's great, man. Oh, it's nice to have the plugs. Nice to have the plug. Merchandise.
Yeah, check it out. Oh, merch. Yeah. Our website too. YeahProbablyBand.com. You can find our merch there. We have T-shirts, stickers, and our EPs, and we're kind of working on some new designs and stuff for new T-shirts as well. So
Hell yeah.
that'll be out soon.
Nice. Do you do your own website?
Yes.
I got into that recently, and it's kind of my world now.
Dude, yeah, it's
obsessed.
Quentin handles a lot of the design, and really the management of it. I'll usually throw on the dates for the website and that kind of stuff. But yeah, he manages a lot of the social media, a lot of the website stuff. And I do mostly booking, like LLC stuff. So, but yeah, man, we're trying to figure out the ins and outs of just all the industry, all things we need to know in order to get to where we want to be. So.
Oh, and speaking the business jargon and all that nonsense.
That's right.
Yeah, it's sad but true. I'm hoping that social media is going to take us away from that. Like, I can envision a future with way less cable and way more YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I feel like
but-
it's moving. I feel like more people are cutting the cord, though. I think a lot of things are moving to, people streaming. That's a big thing now, especially with music too. It's just streaming is taking over.
Yeah, and access. I'm also very curious about what's going to happen with the plant revolution. Plant medicine, pot, psilocybin, stuff like that. The MDMA is being used in some clinical trials, which is amazing. But I wonder what it's going to do to the entertainment industry, because so much of the entertainment industry has just fucking hip-pocketed into what booze is doing.
Oh, yeah.
That they've become so intertwined, it's hard to get them apart from each other.
Yeah.
And I wonder what it's going to look like when people start to realize, oh, hey, they're way better drugs than alcohol.
Well, yeah,
Not that alcohol's bad, but, they're way better drugs
Well, I mean,
that are coming to be legal.
Alcohol is pretty dangerous as far as just.
Well, not good
I
for
enjoy
entertainment.
alcohol. Huh?
Yeah, and not good for long-term entertainment. I mean,
Yeah.
alcohol can be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's just as far as the tipping point, just compared to other substances is tends. I mean, I would think tends to be a little more dangerous as far as like if you're operating a vehicle and that kind of stuff.
Way more dangerous. Way more dangerous. Which, thankfully the government did the research and figured out that the illegal drugs are the most fun.
Yeah.
There's got to be a correlation there. And alcohol has its place and it's all right. But as a rival, I think recreationally, pot's gonna crush the alcohol industry.
Oh, absolutely.
And then what pot doesn't take care of, psilocybin, is just gonna come in and be like, meh, we just don't need any of that. We can have a way better time and have it be more meaningful.
Yeah.
In that we remember more of it and we're not killing ourselves in the process. Sure. So I wonder what's going to happen to the bar scenes in the entertainment industry, and I'm hoping YouTube and stuff like that's going to go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll integrate that kind of stuff into their. They'll have a little mixed.
I'm sure it'll be Little Amsterdam all over the place.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, they're like, look, we're the new Little Amsterdam. I don't know if you follow a lot of that research. I keep up with this thing called MAPS.
Okay.
And Rick Doblin is Johns Hopkins trained MD that has taken MDMA to phase 3 clinical trials. Like the MAPS institution was part of the group that forced the FDA to allow immediate access to MDMA as treatment for PTSD because of its breakthrough results. Like, they strong-armed the FDA into saying we can't deny the results.
Jeez.
It was beautiful.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of it just has a stigma, and I think that's the main barrier. People hear what it is, and they're just like, oh, that's just bad. That's bad. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why it's a slow process. I think getting it to where it will, I'm sure, eventually be.
It weighs on my mind with the suicide thing. I don't know, from my personal history is doctors love poking me. I got you name it, just all over the place. And so viable alternatives to this epidemic of suicide in our country that have proven success rates get my attention all day long, because I mean, Bourdain, just to date the podcast, with Bourdain's recent death, is just, that's, you know, you never know what's going on in somebody's life, but he is a huge role model of mine. And so how to reconcile that on top of with everything that's going on culturally, it makes me hopeful that entertainment will take more of a forefront away from alcohol. I think too many people go out to drink and not enough people go out to listen.
Yeah, definitely. It's people go, you know, to the places, you know, these establishments to get choice, and then you know, not remember anything the next day. But yeah, I hope that it moves more, because I feel like from the way that my brother talks about it, some of the places that they used to play back before I was playing, you know, out, it was, you know, just packed out. People coming, just like digging the music, and you know, sometimes we'll be playing somewhere and it's like it's packed out, but no, you know, everybody's doing their own thing, and we'll get done with the song and it's just like crickets, and it's like, okay, it's a little awkward. So, you know, but you know, it's just it's a lot of it is just, you know, the location and the feel of the place, and why people are there. If they're there to get toe up, then
it's just no fun. Those people have not the same experiences. It's fascinating though. I think people are fascinating in general.
Yeah.
Do you ever have those moments on stage where you just, it's repetition, it's rote memory, like you are in the zone?
Yes. Yeah, so one of the things that I have to kind of, well, and I say I have to watch myself. I'll find myself, like, if there's a TV in the corner of the bar, I'll be watching it while I'm playing. It's kind of,
how the hell do you do that?
Just kind of just, you know, everything's just, you know, going on its own, and if I think about the words too much, then I'll forget them, which is something that I've noticed. It's like, if I'm like really concentrating on the words, or, you know, really concentrating on, you know, what I'm playing, then I'll more than likely mess it up than if I'm just kind of going autopilot. So it's kind of interesting phenomenon.
It is an interesting phenomenon, and we're going to leave it on that phenomenon. When you come back next time, we will discuss in depth. But as the rain comes down, I know you're going to have to hop ship real quick, and we're going to not hit these girls in the road. So, Ladles and Jelly Spoons, thank you so much for joining us. Bye, Facebook. Bye, YouTube.